Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. This episode will guide you through the issues of the Uncanny X-Men published by Marvel Comics in 1984. Issue 181.
Issue 180.
In the beginning, there was nothing. And then, emanating from some form of sound, there was light. And that is how the universe began, ever expanding from a single origin. And from that expansion, galaxies started to form. Planets started revolving around massive stars, held together by the balance of the universe itself. We on planet Earth are occupying an insignificant piece of a massive universe. And far, far away from the planet we live on, a different galaxy exists. One of many, but this one is becoming a whole lot more significant than it was before. Some form of construct suddenly appears out of nowhere. And the people on board of the construct have no idea where they are or what is going on. All they know for certain is that this is not New York City anymore. The passengers aboard the construct are some of the most powerful superpowered beings of planet Earth. Each and every one of them got teleported here after they went to investigate a strange anomaly in Central Park, New York. And in the blink of an eye, they find themselves in deep space. Being able to breathe, not knowing who or what brought them here, and for what reason, they try to figure out what they can. The X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, the Hulk and Spider-Man all introduce themselves to one another, in case some of them are not familiar with the other. And then, Captain America sees another one of the same construct. But this one is carrying some of the most evil villains known to mankind, as Professor Xavier is finding out by using his telepathic abilities, as per Mr. Fantastic's request. And these villains are as lost as the heroes are, as to what their purpose here is. One of them, Dr. Doom, is assessing the situation. He finds himself joined by the Enchantress, Ultron, the Absorbing Man, the Wrecking Crew consisting of the Wrecker himself as well as his gang members Thunderbolt, Piledriver and Bulldozer, Kang the Conqueror, Galactus, the Lizard, Molecule Man and Dr. Octopus. His built-in sensors reveal to him the second construct close by, and tells him it's carrying the heroes. He finds it interesting how this gathering of forces seems as if they're getting ready for a war to be fought. Over at the hero side, the Thing asks why they are being joined by Magneto, since he is a well-known villain and murderer according to Captain Marvel. Magneto says that he is a lot of things, but has never been a slayer of innocents. He says he has always fought and will fight in the defense of his race. Regardless of whether his fellow mutants, the X-Men, fail to understand this. He says he doesn't know what power transported him here, or why he was placed with these men and women, but he finds it more appropriate to ask why they have all been judged fit to be placed in his presence. Professor Xavier then warns Magneto that his arrogance may just become his undoing. And then, something happens outside of the construct, as the stars all start to move and they witness how the entire galaxy, which was nearest to them, is being destroyed and then just disappears. Swept away like dust before an unseen giant hand, as Thor puts it. Iron Man thinks it's unbelievable how they seem to be moving at a crazy speed. And they all see a planet being formed, from all kinds of parts coming from every direction, near the single one star remaining from the entire galaxy which just got destroyed. Dr. Doom is impressed at the powers being displayed here. It is simply incalculable and inconceivable. At the same time, Dr. Octopus and the Absorbing Man are getting into a fight, only to get blasted by the robot called Ultron. Ultron's logic chips cannot process what all is happening here or how he became resurrected. Nothing seems to compute, but it is all insignificant. What does matter to Ultron is that his purpose is to slay all which lives, meaning he will destroy every one of these villains aboard this construct. He starts flying and blasting at everyone. They all try to take cover, apart from Crusher Creel, the Absorbing Man. He simply absorbs the properties of the blast he's getting hit with by Ultron. And Doctor Doom realizes the dangers Ultron poses. It is entirely made out of adamantium, and the fusion reactor which is energizing it is of incredible power. It might just eventually batter through his personal force field. He tells Owen Reese the Molecule Man that he has the power to and must stop Ultron. But Owen tells Doctor Doom that he stopped being the Molecule Man, that he doesn't even know what he's doing here and that he just wants to find a place to hide. Doctor Doom tells him that he has need of Owen's powers to control molecules. That of all of the villains present, only him and possibly the world-eating cosmic enigma known as Galactus can destroy Ultron. But Galactus is not paying any attention to what is happening at his feet below. Owen takes the hint and uses his powers to move Ultron and have him bump into Galactus. And Galactus notices this. He then lifts Ultron up to his face and Ultron doesn't care. It wants to slay Galactus just as bad as it does the others. But Galactus just looks at him. And in a flash of pure energy, the villains below witness all the energy getting drained from Ultron's indestructible adamantium body, right through its mouth. Ultron gets snuffed out, and Galactus simply continues his business. The rest of the villains now realize just how insignificant they are to Galactus. And suddenly, unannounced, a fissure in space opens up, emanating a light so bright that it makes the star close to them seem dim in comparison. Captain America tells everyone to be quiet and listen. And then, a voice starts to speak, and all the heroes and villains can do is stare and listen. It says, "I am from beyond. Slay your enemies and all you desire shall be yours. Nothing you dream of is impossible for me to accomplish." The wrecker just knows that the voice is not lying. He just knows it. He can just feel it. The stoic Galactus then addresses the Beyonder and tells him to listen to him. He says that he senses the Beyonder is truly from beyond this universe. From beyond this multiverse even. That he senses the energy the Beyonder wields, and that he knows he can relieve Galactus from his everlasting hunger. He can end Galactus' ceaseless monstrous craving for the very essence of living worlds. Galactus then flies up from the construct and towards the rift in space, and says to let it be done. He says that he will not wait, and let some petty charade delay his respite. His torment must end right now. And Doctor Doom flies right behind him, in pursuit of the power Galactus is trying to attain, aided by the technology in his armor. Galactus has not noticed Doctor Doom is following him towards the fissure, and Doom is fine with that. He wants Galactus to confront the power only known as the Beyonder, while he himself will be lurking in the background, waiting to seize any opportunity presenting itself. And then, the Beyonder speaks again, telling Galactus to not approach him because the barriers will repulse him. But Galactus will not be stopped. He will not be denied. Doom, however, dares to not go any further. He can feel the enormous energies around him, like a thing alive. Instead, he will let his armor's computers analyze the alien forces which are currently engulfing him, in the hope of gleaning some valuable shreds of knowledge. And that in the meantime, Galactus will be able to shatter the barriers ahead. But then, there is suddenly a massive release of energy emerging from the rift in space itself, resulting in the seemingly lifeless bodies of Galactus and Doctor Doom floating in space, and the fissure closes again, as if it was never there. The heroes could all see this happening from afar, and their construct suddenly starts moving again. They get separated from the other construct carrying the villains, both heading for a different part of the surface on a planet which was just created out of nothing. And all of a sudden, all the heroes get teleported to the surface, beamed down in the blink of an eye. Cap tells everyone to be ready for anything. He wants everyone to make a circle and appoints himself to the 12 o'clock position. He says he wants an Avenger at every 30-degree angle and tells Iron Man to keep his radar working. He then asks Reed Richards, the leader of the Fantastic Four, also known as Mr. Fantastic, to use his elongating powers and scout from high up to see if he can spot a villain, but he cannot see any. The Wasp then asks what he's talking about, since they got one right here in their midst as she points at Magneto. She says that no murderer belongs at their side, and she asks Magneto if he forgot about sinking a fully manned submarine only a couple of months ago. Magneto then responds by saying that they fired at him first, and thus it was an act of war against him. He was simply defending himself. If anything, the humans should be regarded as the oppressors and his fellow mutants as the persecuted ones. He tells the Wasp all these so-called heroes champion their cause and should bear the shame of their dishonor. The X-Men then take a stand between Magneto and the rest of the heroes. The Fantastic Four member, the Human Torch, flies in between them and tells them this is enough already. He says that he will take care of Magneto since they all know that he is a bad guy, and that way there will be one less villain to worry about. But Magneto is not having that. He uses his powers to deal with them, telling them he stands above them all, possibly not counting Thor, who Magneto says is the only one who could be regarded as equal among them. Cyclops tells them to listen to Professor Xavier. This is not the time and place for this fight. For now, Magneto is an ally. Monica Rambeau, the Avenger known as Captain Marvel, tells Cyclops to shut up. His optic energy blasts are nothing to a woman whose body simply transforms into energy. The Human Torch says that the X-Men are nuts, and the Hulk agrees. Wolverine mentions how it's weird to hear the Hulk talk, ever since he got access to his alter ego Bruce Banner's brain. But he adds that it doesn't matter who's doing the talking. They are not getting past them. But this standoff doesn't take very long, because Magneto decides to take off. He will not see any mutant blood getting spilled on his behalf. And with the tension being gone, it becomes quite clear that the heroes will need leadership. Professor X suggests Reed Richards to take leadership, but he doesn't think that he'll be able to. His wife and team member Susan, otherwise known as the Invisible Girl, did not get teleported to this distant part of the universe along with them. She's currently expecting a baby, and all Reed can think about is that he might not see her or the baby ever again. He just can't focus enough to take the leadership role. He suggests for Bruce Banner to do it, but regardless of the Hulk having the mental capacity to do so now, he doesn't feel like giving out orders. The Hulk says that Captain America probably likes doing so, and suggests to make him the leader. With Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, being the leader of the Avengers at this point in time, she prefers Captain America, otherwise known as Steve Rogers, to do it as well. Captain America asks Professor Xavier if he doesn't want to do it. With him being able to read minds, it would come in very handy. But Xavier says that no man in existence equals Cap's courage. Wolverine objects, but the Asgardian thunder god Thor says that he doesn't pledge his allegiance to many mortals, but he would follow this man to the gates of the underworld. And so it is settled. Far away from where the heroes are located, Doctor Doom is coming too. Him and Galactus both landed on the same planet, and Galactus is still lying around unconscious. Doom is still amazed at the power he just witnessed. Power beyond all in existence in this universe. As he starts walking away from Galactus' body, he can see a fortress in the distance. A fortress he suspects to have been provided by the Beyonder, and he expects the other villains to be inside of it. He needs to have a talk with them, to try and convince them to not play along with this game, to not fight. Once he arrives inside, he meets up with the others, who, apart from being amazed with the weaponry inside the fortress, have been having the same conversation as the heroes have, regarding leadership. They almost unanimously decided that they want Doom to take up the leadership role. With Dr. Doom leading the villains, they should be able to work together and win the Beyonder's prize. Doom asks them if that is all they can think about: winning a prize. He tells them they have witnessed the power to end and to begin universes, and all they care for is their selfish desires. He says that they must listen to him and not fight, that there is more at stake than they know, and that they must proceed cautiously. To try and comprehend But then he gets interrupted by the Molecule Man, who is still hooked on the idea of being able to realize all of his personal desires. And Dr. Doom slaps him away, tells him to ignore his petty dreams. If they fight, all they do is prove that they are insignificant organisms. They must transcend themselves. They have a chance to reach out to a being to whom gods are but insects, and he says the key to totality and immortality is near at hand, and perhaps within their grasp. Doom then gets asked by some of the villains if he has lost his guts and is scared now. Doom in return asks them if they still want to behave as nothing more than bacteria, and the absorbing man says yeah, he would. Doom has heard enough, and then blasts power bolts from his gauntlets, crushing the villains under all kinds of machinery. This should give him enough time to get away safely. He tells himself he should have realized they wouldn't understand. He figures there's probably only one person in this universe who might comprehend the situation. He will have to seek out his most hated enemy to discuss this matter. He then finds some kind of flying device and leaves the fortress. But what Doom doesn't realize is that he was being watched by Kang the Conqueror, who doesn't like Doom joining up with the heroes one bit. He will not allow Doom to betray them like this, and uses one of the guns of the fortress. Even though it is of alien technology, Kang figures out how to use it, and blasts the ship Doom was on out of the sky. The heroes can see this happening, and they are going to check out what was on the large chunk that fell out of the sky. And soon, once they have arrived on the scene, using their powers in various ways to provide transportation, they find Dr. Doom lying on the ground. The heroes do not want Captain America to get close to Doom, even though he seems hurt badly. Dr. Doom is mumbling, saying how he must speak to Reed Richards. Cap then tries to help Doom up, but no matter how hurt Doom is, he needs no man's help. And as he sees the look in both Captain America and Mr. Fantastic's faces, he regards himself a fool to think that such as them would be able to comprehend what only he can know, and instantly attacks them by blasting power bolts from his gauntlets again. And only a couple of moments later, as the heroes are trying to get their bearings, Iron Man tells them all that his radar is picking up bogies. And they are coming in fast. The heroes are under attack. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. You can help growing this channel by liking, subscribing and sharing. This tells YouTube that the videos I'm making should be recommended to others and would be very much appreciated. See you next episode.